Let's go Eagles! Buckle up because we have some big breaking news coming out of the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. The Philadelphia Eagles are making waves, and the buzz right now is that they may be gearing up for a big change, one that could reshape the defensive line and send shockwaves through the league. I'll admit, I'm kind of anxious for this new season to start because there's a lot going on between now and then. Before I tell you all the details, make sure you hit the like button if you think Myles Garrett would be a good addition to the Eagles. If you don't think he's worth it, leave a comment below. In any case, comment, "Go Birds, let's win the next Super Bowl." So let's start by talking about him, Myles Garrett. Yes, you heard me right. The 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year, one of the most dominant pass rushers in the game today. And from everything we're hearing in Indy, the Eagles are real players in this potential trade. This isn't just some unfounded rumor going around. There are legitimate discussions happening, and if things go well, Howie Roseman could be preparing for another class move. Now let's break it down. First, there are reports circulating that Garrett is unhappy in Cleveland. He's not open to a contract extension, and the Browns, at least publicly, have been adamant that they won't trade him. But let's be real. When a player of Garrett's caliber wants out and the team is stuck in limbo with an injured Deshaun Watson, things can change quickly. Here's where it gets interesting. NFL insider Diana Rossini dropped a bombshell that Howie Roseman is already looking to move some key pieces to make a big swing. Names like Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, and potentially even Mekhi Becton have been floated as possible trade assets. That means some guys who we thought were sure things to return in 2025 might not be as locked in as we assumed. And when you take a step back and look at this from the Eagles' perspective, it makes total sense. Howie Roseman is one of the most aggressive general managers in football. This guy does not sit back and wait. If there's a chance to upgrade the roster, especially in the trenches, he's going to do it. And let's be honest, Myles Garrett in midnight green? That's the kind of move that wins championships. Now, what would a deal even look like? That's where it gets tricky. The Browns are reportedly standing firm, but we all know how these things go. If Garrett really wants out, Cleveland has to start considering their options. And Howie, being the master negotiator he is, could put together an offer they can't refuse. Maybe it's a first-round pick this year, a second-rounder next year, and a player like Tanner McKee, who, let's not forget, could be an intriguing piece for the Browns given Deshaun Watson's ongoing injury issues. And speaking of Howie's connections, don't forget, he used to be Andrew Berry's boss. That direct line of communication is there. He can pick up the phone and say, "Listen, Andrew, you're not competing for a Super Bowl anytime soon. You're in rebuild mode, Garrett wants out, and you're not getting an extension done. Let me help you out." Boom.
Of course, if the Eagles pull this off, there's another factor: Garrett would likely want a new deal. And with the Eagles already deep into their Super Bowl window, they'd have to be comfortable giving up big compensation and handing out a major contract extension. But if you've been paying attention to this franchise over the years, you know that's not something Howie shies away from. He's always been willing to pay a premium for elite talent, especially in the trenches. So now the question is, will this actually happen? And Eagles fans, I need to hear from you. Do you want the team to go all in and trade for Myles Garrett? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this could be one of the biggest moves in franchise history. And we're not done yet. There's more breaking news from the Eagles camp. The team has officially hired Scott Loeffler as their new quarterbacks coach. This comes after Doug Nussmeier followed Kellen Moore to New Orleans, leaving a big hole on the staff. But Loeffler is no stranger to developing quarterbacks. Let's take a quick look at his resume. This guy has been coaching QBs for decades. He worked with Tom Brady at Michigan, helped develop Tim Tebow at Florida, and has been an offensive coordinator at multiple major programs, including Auburn, Virginia Tech, and Boston College. Most recently, he was the head coach at Bowling Green for the last 6 years, leading them to 3 straight bowl appearances. And here's something fun: Loeffler is a fiery guy. He once got ejected for 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties as a head coach. So imagine him and Nick Sirianni on the same sideline. Things could get intense. But if you love passion, energy, and a no-nonsense coaching style, this hire makes a ton of sense. Bottom line, this has been a massive day for Eagles news. A potential Myles Garrett trade is heating up, and the coaching staff just got a new face in Scott Loeffler. What do you guys think? Should the Eagles push all their chips in for Garrett? And how do you feel about the new QB coach? Let me know in the comments this conversation isn't over yet. Let's keep this going, Eagles fans, because this Myles Garrett situation isn't just some off-season rumor, it's something that could completely redefine this team's defense. Think about it. The Eagles' pass rush was dominant at times last season but lacked consistency when it mattered most. We all saw how things unraveled down the stretch, especially in the playoffs. Adding Garrett, a guy who has been a game wrecker for years, would give this defensive front a level of dominance that would terrify opposing quarterbacks. And let's not forget Hassan Reddick's contract situation is something to watch. If the Eagles don't extend him, could they view Garrett as a long-term upgrade? This is classic Howie Roseman. We've seen him pull off shocking, aggressive moves before, whether it was trading for A.J. Brown, moving up for Jalen Carter, or finding a way to bring in Darius Slay when people thought the secondary was cooked. He operates in silence, and then boom, breaking news. The Eagles have Myles Garrett. Now, what makes Garrett such a perfect fit in Philly? Let's break it down. Elite pass rusher. Garrett is a pure nightmare for offensive lines. He had 14 sacks last season, even with constant double teams, and won Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. The Eagles already have guys like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis wreaking havoc inside. Imagine throwing Garrett into that mix. Scheme fit. Garrett can play in multiple defensive fronts. And with Vic Fangio coming in as the new defensive coordinator, he would have a ton of flexibility to move him around. Locker room presence. This guy isn't just a dominant player, he's a leader. You add someone like Garrett to the mix, and suddenly the entire defense feeds off that energy. So here's where things stand. The Eagles are interested. The Browns are reluctant. And Garrett is unhappy. Something has to give. The combine is where deals start to gain momentum, and with free agency right around the corner, expect more rumors to surface. But this isn't the only big move the Eagles have made. The coaching staff has undergone a shakeup, and the hiring of Scott Loeffler as the new QB coach is something we need to talk about more. Loeffler isn't just some random hire, he has a track record of developing quarterbacks, and Eagles fans, this matters because we need Jalen Hurts to take another step after last season's struggles in the second half of the year. Coaching stability is huge. Doug Nussmeier, the previous QB coach, left to follow Kellen Moore to New Orleans, and that left a hole in the staff. But Loeffler is an interesting replacement. He's worked with some of the biggest names in football, including Tom Brady and Tim Tebow. And what's even more fascinating is that he's not just a clipboard holder type of coach, he's a fiery, emotional guy who demands the best from his quarterbacks. Now, does that mean Jalen Hurts is suddenly going to turn into a 5,000-yard passer overnight? No, but it does mean that the Eagles are prioritizing the right things. They're bringing in an experienced guy who understands the details of QB play,